Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 1 of the Scheepjes Crochet Along 2017 Hygge. Hygge has been designed by Kirsten from Hygge CAL. The yarn that we're using for this crochet along is stonewashed and katona, both of which will be in your kit. Take a note of the hook size that we're using for this project. It's a 4.5mm hook. This might be larger than you're used to for working with the stonewashed or the katona yarn. You want a nice soft flowing fabric, so we're going up a few hook sizes. I'll take you step by step through the rows that make up part 1. We're working bobble stitches in different colors on a background of the stonewashed yarn. I hope it's a useful video for you, and thank you for watching. I'm going to start by putting a slip knot on our hook. Okay, pull that tight. And now we're going to do 60 chain stitches. It's quite a lot, and that will give us a nice base. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and continue until you've got 60 of these. There we go, 60 stitches. Now this is quite a chain, as you can see. So we're going to take it one stitch at a time from here. What we're now going to be doing is going to make our base stitches. We're going to skip the first chain, and in that second chain going to work a double crochet. And you're going to do that for every stitch. I'm going to skip that first stitch and the second one from my hook, so go through the loop and work a double crochet. And the next stitch also go through the loop and work a double. And you're going to keep on doing this until you're to the end of the chain. So you're going to work a double crochet on every stitch. And this first row is your base row. So if you've got this right and you've got your stitch count right, then the rest just flows from here. So pay a little bit of attention to your first row, and that will really make life easy for you. So make sure you've got 59 stitches in this row. I'm just going to continue, work a double crochet on every stitch, and I'll see you at the end of this row. And 2 more to go, so that's a double crochet. And then here on my last one, actually that's my first loop there, work your last double crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work. And now we're ready for row 2. If you want to, maybe a good idea is just count your stitches. You should have 59 of these, and take note that this very first, that chain there at the beginning, the first one from that we skipped from the hook, that does not count as a stitch. So that there's the first stitch. That's 1, 2, 3 stitches, those first 3 there. Just take a moment to just count to make sure you've got 59 stitches, then you're good to go for row 2. Row 2. In this row we're going to, in essence, do a double crochet on every stitch. The chain 1 you just did does not count as a stitch. That means this first stitch here, you immediately want to make your first double crochet in that stitch. So that's your first double crochet there. This is number 2. You see I'm working through both loops. Make sure you go through the entire stitch, and you work a double crochet on every stitch. And you're going to work 59 in total. I'm just going to continue until I get to the end of this row. Then I'll just like to show you the last few stitches also. I'm going to make a small jump in the video. So continue, work a double crochet on every stitch. See how I've now already done a few. So I'm going to make a jump in the video, and I'll just show you these last few stitches also. Row 2, the last bit of row 2, got a few more stitches to go. Just working those last few stitches, that double crochet on those last stitches. got 2 more. You see I've got 2 more V's here, and those you still need to work. And this is the last stitch. You see that V there, that's the stitch, and you've got that little stripe there. That's the chain 1, you don't work that. So that last full stitch there is the last one you work here. And then if everything went right, you've done 59 double crochets here. Chain 1 and turn your work. But before I turn my work, you've now got row 2 facing, and row 2 is the front side of your work. So I'm just going to take a stitch marker, and I'm just going to mark the front here. So I'm just going to go through the fabric from the front. Doesn't matter where, just gotta get it through somewhere. There we go. And this is for me to mark the front. At a certain point it'll be easy to see what's the front and what's the back, but this way I just know for sure that I'm not accidentally mistaken. So this is the front side of my work. I've now done row 2, and now we can continue with row 3. Row 3, repetition of row 2. See, I've got the stitch marker to the back here, so I've got the back of my work facing. A double crochet on every stitch. So this is the first stitch, going to work a double crochet in there, and then continue and work a double crochet on every stitch. This is the third one. Continue until you get to the end. You've worked your last double crochet on your last stitch, chain 1 and turn. See, I've now worked a few. Continue until you're to the end. End of row 3, have a few more stitches left. Just want to show you those also, and especially just the last stitch that you don't accidentally make a mistake. Got 3 stitches left here, and you've got that little stripe there, that's the turning chain. You're going to leave that. So you're going to work a double crochet on every stitch. This is my final stitch, going to work a double crochet on here, chain 1 and turn. Now you're ready for row 4. You can see I've got the front of my work facing, and row 4 we're going to be using 2 colors. Row 4 we're going to be using the toner yarn in combination with the stone washed. Now be sure that you're taking the right color. We're starting with color A. For me it's the deep red because I'm using the rainbow kit. So just make sure you're using the right color for this row. Row 4, I'm going to start by working 5 double crochets, and then we're going to change color. So in that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now comes number 5, and here you need to take note. You're going to start the double crochet as normal. So pick up a loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook, and now we're going to change color. So I'm going to take the red yarn because I need the red at this point. If you have a different kit, you'll have a different color, so just make sure you've got the right color. And I'm going to yarn over with this new color. So yarn over and pull through. You've now done is you've done 5 double crochets, and you've used that last yarn over and pull through to change colors to the Katona yarn. Now, what we're now going to do is going to do a bobble stitch in the next stitch, and that's in essence 5 trebles worked together. I'm going to yarn over, go into that stitch, and I'm going to work over the stone washed, and I'm going to work over the beginning tail. This is the beginning tail of the Katona yarn. So I'm going to work over everything and take off those first 2 loops. Then again, yarn over, pick up a loop and take off 2 loops. Again, yarn over, pick up, take off 2 loops. You've now done this 3 times. You need to do this 5 times because you need 5 of these little legs to let me just get more yarn. You need 5 of these legs to make the bobble. And this is the last leg, so you've got 6 loops on your hook. I'm going to now yarn over and take them all off in one go. And when I do so, I'm just going to push my hook a little bit upwards. That's just to prevent my hook from getting snagged here somewhere. Now, another important thing, I'm going to use this yarn over to change back to the stone washed yarn. Let me just get these stone washed. There we go. And you'll get the hang of this as you do this more and more. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And now you've done the bobble stitch, that's this one, and you've changed back to the stone washed yarn. I'm going to work 3 double crochets on the next stitches. So immediately in the next stitch, and I'm going to work this double crochet reasonably tight because I want my bobbles to really pop. So I'm going to work that reasonably tight, and I'm going to work over my Katona yarn. So I've gone through the stitch and I'm working over that red yarn and work a double crochet. What you'll notice here is that the bobble is kind of popping the wrong way. Now if that happens, just pop it forward, because you really want it to be to the front of your work and not to the back. Now I've also worked that double crochet as tight as I can, just to get this stitch really secure and to really get it popping. So that was the first double crochet. I'm going to do 3. So this is the second, again through the entire stitch and over the red yarn from the Katona. Work number 2, and then here comes number 3. And now I'm again going to change back to the red yarn. So I want again just take the, and now also make sure you're taking the correct tail, because you've got a short one. You don't want that one, you want the long one. And I'm just going to change back to the red again. And this is your repeat unit. The bobble and then the 3 double crochets. I'm going to do this 11 times. I'll show you 1 or 2 more times. On the next stitch, again work a bobble. I'm going to work over my yarn tail, and I'm going to work over the stone washed thread. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Now again change back to the stone washed, and you'll notice that as you keep on changing your yarn from the one to the other, that things kind of get a little bit knotted. Don't worry about that. When you're at the end of this row, you're going to cut the Katona thread anyway, so then it won't matter anymore, and then you can sort everything out. So yarn over and pull through. On your next stitch, again work a double crochet, and I'm again going to work that one as tight as I can. That's just to get my bobble really popping and really secure. It's 1, 2, and on the third stitch, number 3, when I again change back to the red. And make sure you get the long thread and not the short one. And pull through. I'm going to show you 1 more repeat, and then I'll do a jump in the video. So again, yarn over. This time I'm not going to work over my initial yarn tail, because I want to work that back in. I want to also take this and work it in that way, so I need a little bit of thread here. I'm just going to go through the stitch and over the stone washed. That's 1, 2, and 3, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Take them all off, and to do that, change back to your stone washed and take them all off. In your next stitch, work a double crochet, work over the katona, pop your bobble to the front if needed. That's 1, 2, and then this is number 3, and I'm going to change back to the katona. Now done the repeat 3 times, so that's a bobble and then the 3 double crochets. Now done it 3 times. Do this 11 times in total. That will bring you somewhere here. Actually, I should say here. And then we can continue with the last bit. Almost to the end of row 4. We've done so far. You now have 12 of these bobbles. That's the point where you should have stopped now. I've got a whole series of these, so you can see all those bobbles there. You have a few stitches left. We're going to work 3 double crochets, then a last bobble and 5 double crochets. You're going to have 13 bobbles in this row. I'm just going to work the last few double crochets. And then that's the first one. Then just pop my bobble to the front. So that's 1, 2, and number 3. Change to the red again. A bobble stitch. So that's I'm going to work over the stone washed also. So I'm taking and the stitch and that extra thread. Just work over everything. So you're going to be doing that always. Work over all your yarn. 2, 3, 4, and the last leg, number 5. Change back to the stone washed. There we go. You should have at this point 5 stitches left. On those 5, you're going to work a double crochet on each. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and on that last one there, number 5. Just pop my last bobble to the front. There you go. You now have 13 bobbles. The red yarn, I'm going to cut that. So there we go. Cut that, and then you can work in this yarn tail as well as on the other side. Still do a chain 1, and then you can turn your work for the next row. Row 5, we're going to work a double crochet on every stitch. So this is a repeat of row 2. I've already got that turning chain there. Then in that first stitch, work your first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. And number 6 is going to be on the bobble. So that's those 2 top loops there. Those 2, that's your stitch. And then you're going to work 3 between the bobbles, of course. So you're going to continue just a double crochet on every stitch. This is a nice and easy row. And then when you get to the end, chain 1 and turn. Then in the next row, we're going to use a katona thread again. So then we're going to make some more bobbles. Continue, and I'll see you for the next row. Row 6, We're going to start by working 3 double crochets. So got the turning chain there from the previous row. So on that first stitch, the very first stitch, work your first double. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then on number 3 again change yarn, change your color to the Katona. Just check your kits exactly which color you need, and there we go. Now again a bobble. So that's again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So take them all off in one go, and I'm going to do that with the stone washed, if I can just get my hands around it, and take them all off. Now work 3 double crochets again on the next stitches. 1, 2, and for number 3 you can see I'm again working over those threads, over the Katona threads, taking them with me, and then after that third stitch change back to the Katona. Just helping that first bobble along a bit, and now we repeat, we do another bobble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again take them all off, and while you're doing that change to the stone washed and work a double on the next stitch. So 1, you can see how you're now repeating your pattern again. This is 1, this is a repeat from your previous stitches. 3, and here after that third one change to the Katona on the last yarn over. And now you'd make a bobble again. So you can see how you're repeating these stitches, 3 double crochets, a bobble, so bobble 3 doubles, bobble 3 doubles. You're going to do that all the way to the end. You're going to repeat this 12 more times, or 12 times in total, and at the end you're going to have 3 stitches left. So you're going to do 3 double crochets, then a bobble, then you're at the end of your repeat unit, and I'll just see you for those last few stitches. Just on the end of row 4, done all your bobbles. You can see them here, you've done an awful lot of them. And after you've done your last bobble you'll have 3 stitches left. I'm going to cut my yarn because the orange yarn you don't need anymore. I'm just going to cut that, and then on these last 3 stitches, work a double crochet on each. So 1, 2, that's your last stitch there, and that chain, going to leave that chain 1. That's just from turning. Push my last bobble to the front, chain 1, and then you can turn for the next row. Row 7, you have the back of your work facing, and now we're going to do the same as we did in row 5, same as row 3, same as row 2, going to work a double crochet on every stitch. Just take a moment again, you already have the turning chain there, so that first space there, that's your first stitch. Work a double crochet on every stitch. 59 in total. Then now you're here on the bobble, be sure to actually work through the top of the stitch. You see you've also got some loops here, don't work into those. Turn your work slightly to the front if you have to, so you only get those top 2 loops. Continue a double crochet on every stitch. You get to the end, you'll have worked 59, then chain 1 and turn. Here's that top again. See, I'm just taking those 2 top loops, and then you're ready for the next row. For row 8 onwards, row 8 up to 23, we're going to be repeating what you've just done in these last 4 rows. So you're going to be doing a row like here, like the red bobbles, then a background row, those were all the double crochets, then a row like here with the orange bobbles, and then again a background row. So these last 4 rows, that was row 4, 5, 6 and 7. These 4 are going to be repeating them, with each row a different color of katona, so be sure to check the pattern exactly which color you need for which row, and then you'll have worked 23 rows in total. When you've completed all the rows, this is what your fabric looks like at the moment. You've got all these bubbles and changing colors going from the bottom to the top. So that completes the end of part 1. One thing you should still do is you've still got this loop on your hook here. Just put a stitch marker through that loop, because you're going to continue working this fabric next week. By putting a stitch marker in here, nothing happens to this loop, it doesn't come undone. So that then brings us to the end of part 1. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next week.